its natural state.
People need to come prepared to get their feet wet. We will have cable strung across each that people can use as guide wire. Of course, moving water can be dangerous, and at a certain point, we may have to close the park, depending upon the weather. But definitely come prepared to get your feet wet.
It's a unique trail that experienced hikers should explore. You need to be physically fit, and when you come here, expect all types of terrain. This is not something that you want to be walking in flip-flops and swim trunks. This is something that you need to understand when you're undertaking it. It is a serious hike with a gorgeous view at the end, but much care needs to be taken on that gorgeous view. And this is the reason for the walk. A fragile limestone landform in the shape of bridges, or windows as they are called up here at the cliffs. I was born and raised in Tennessee, and I had no clue this ever existed. And to come upon something like that later in your life, once you're an adult, it's really, really cool. And you want to be able to show it to other people so that they don't have to go their entire life without knowing about it, or at least part of their life like I did.
Seeing the windows is a great part. It's beautiful and it's very unique. You wouldn't think you were in Tennessee when you see it, so that's what I love about it.
Spectacular views are not all this natural area has to offer. Because of the rocky, barren outcrops, the fairly high elevation, and how it's surrounded by water, this is home to the plains muhlygrass, a state-endangered plant. Window Cliffs is one of only 2 locations we know, and the only publicly accessible location that the plains muhlygrass can be found. There are also northern white cedars that are native to the northeastern United States and eastern Canada, but considered rare in this part of the country. This is the westernmost reach of its range in Tennessee, Putnam County, but this little niche it's found works very, very well for its habitat, and it's definitely enjoying growing here, there's no doubt about that. The hike, the windows, the water, and the wildlife are all only accessible by day. If you head out, you're expected to turn back at least an hour before sunset.
Make sure you've got enough daylight to do the hike. If you get here late, this canyon, it's wonderful. Maybe start a hike earlier in the morning or afternoon, because the canyon will get dark fairly quickly.
State workers put in a good 7 hours of extremely hard work before the impending sunset deadline. A day away from their desk, and their sweat equity has certainly been a valuable investment.
Working on the trail, I think, is very beneficial just to see it through. We want people to be able to experience the windows, so having access to that and providing it to the public is a great thing, just to see more parts of Tennessee and how beautiful it is.
I'm Ezekiel Noel Hall on the Wild Side.
Still to come on the Wild Side, we'll soar above trails and around trees in one of Tennessee's most amazing places. While Window Cliffs offers some significant challenges, there are many places in Tennessee for people who want to hike but prefer tamer trails, like this one, the Rails to Trails Greenway in Ashland City, Tennessee. Our website, wildsidetv.com, offers many other destinations for great adventures. Regardless of the terrain, the footwear you choose can make a difference between a successful hike and one where all you can think about are your feet. Footwear specialist Lori Ridgway works us all in for a fitting.
When someone comes in at first and they say, well, I'm looking for a hiking shoe, what I need to know is what they need the shoe for. So usually what I'll say is, okay, tell me this. Are you trail running? Are you just hiking? Are you going to go backpacking? What are you going to do? Then I know where to put them on the wall, because on the wall they're up by stiffness. So I've got trail runners, light hiking, light backpacking, and backpacking. So the more serious hiker who's doing those trails that have more rocks that could flip them over, or maybe they have bad ankles, they're going to be up in here. They're going to pick a boot that will have a stiffer sole, like this. And you can generally tell by grabbing the ends and twisting. It's not going to twist like a moccasin. It's an actual boot on a platform. So if they're going to get into rocks, things like that, I don't want them bending a lot. I want them to be able to step on the rock and just push straight off. That's the reason hiking boots are stiffer. They don't want you feeling what's underneath them. What I find is most people are going to like Percy Warner Park, or they might even do, you know, some trails in the Smokies, but they're just going for the day. They want to carry, you know, maybe a little pack with some water, things like that. So I would probably bring them to, it almost looks like a normal tennis shoe, but it's not. They could be anywhere in here. For instance, this. It's low top, it doesn't have the ankle covered, but that's a boot sole, right? So it will move more right here than a boot will, but it's going to be stiff from here to here, again, so they won't feel any rocks or anything, but it'll be lighter and a little more flexible. Now, if somebody wants to go lighter, that's easy enough. What we'll do is we'll go to things like trail runners. Trail runners, what makes them different than a street runner is the bottom will have some tread to it that will be good for the dirt. But trail runners are going to be more flexible. You can actually see how I can flex it much easier, but it's still stiff between here and there. Street runners usually are a bit cushier, and they don't worry. They just want you to be able to have the bounce to it. But if you're on the trail, roots, rocks, anything that will come up into it, we don't want to feel that. Fit's a huge thing too. Not everybody can fit into every shoe, and that's where I come in. You know, you have to get the fit right and the length right. What has changed in the industry a lot is the fact more people are exercising by running trails because they're getting bored on treadmills, things like that, and they want to see different things around them. A tennis shoe is better than a flip-flop by far, but a lot of times you just don't have the stability in it and you can't go as long. Because if your foot keeps moving like that, there's more fatigue at the end of the day. That's the reason they just want them to be a little stiffer. They do make sandals for hiking too, and that's quite popular. And over in this area, we have quite a few. A lot of people know about Chacos. Chacos being designed for river guides in the beginning, so they had hiking bottoms to them, but the water would just go off and you can tighten them with one strap. Made it really simple. They're probably a little heavier duty for hiking. People on the Appalachian Trail use them. Then we have bedrocks. Bedrocks are what we call minimalist now. That's a huge trend where they just want something between them and the ground. They're flexible, so it's almost like you're barefoot, but you're not going to feel any of the rocks, gravel, whatever, and they're great in the water. Our season is so long. People wear sandals here from March 1st until November. It's a pretty big deal almost year-round.
As we saw on our visit to Window Cliffs, building a trail is a way for state employees to get out of the office and into the wild on a regular work day. But as we also saw, it is not an easy job. And you don't have to be a state employee to help. Opportunities arise periodically to maintain trails that already exist. We caught up with some volunteers near Chattanooga in Macon County, and in this case, they have a much loftier goal. Wildside guide Janet Ivey takes us to the Tennessee Wall.
Rising up from the wooded world of Prentice Cooper State Forest, this crown of rugged rocks is known as the Tennessee Wall. Brought to light by time and the persistent push of water flowing through the Tennessee River Gorge, the hard sandstone is a colorful palette of texture and tone. This is awesome architecture, a wonder to behold, and a challenge to climb.
The Tennessee Wall is special. It's a very continuous long cliff. There's cracks which are hard to come by in some areas. They're every 10 feet at this cliff for over a mile.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to hang out, whether you're rock climbing or not. But then when you're rock climbing on orange sandstone cliffs, beautiful river, beautiful gorge, it's that much more.
Keeping this place beautiful is what brings a dedicated group of volunteers to the trail leading up to the fog-shrouded cliffs on a rainy December morning. The hike is short, but strenuous. They are members of the Southeastern Climbers Coalition, people who love to climb and are willing to work hard to ensure that others can share their passion.
Tennessee ranks high nationally for climbing. It's got a staggering supply of really good quality sandstone climbing and bouldering, and a lot of it's world class. After enjoying these places for a while, you realize that you have a responsibility too to keep it going. So you take care of the resource and make sure it lasts.
Today they are working on a short section of trail running along the base of the cliff.
And if we can get it right, it'll shed water and be just a resilient, sustainable trail.
We're on the edge of a mountain, and there's a lot of erosion that will naturally happen if you don't build trails that are sustainable.
And then we'll tamp this down real good.
Rain makes the slow process of trail building even slower.
But it's very rewarding after you've been sweating for a few hours and lifting heavy rock and using a pick. I mean, it's not fun every moment of it, but the final product is something you can be proud of. You know that you are giving back to the sport.
A sport that is exploding in popularity.
Climbing is growing in leaps and bounds. There's climbing gyms opening every year, and there's more and more climbers who want to take that skill that they learn in the climbing gym outside.
This place sees more and more people staying here on trips. They'll come and stay for a week. Sometimes you come down on a busy weekend and this place will be tweaked out, people all over the place. And so trails get worn out, areas get worn out under cliffs that get washed out, and they're all mini projects that need to be done.
In addition to organizing trail days like this one, the Southeastern Climbers Coalition works in partnership with other conservation groups to raise money and purchase new climbing locations.
If there's more areas for climbers to choose from and go, it will spread the impact out of climbers, and the environment can handle that better.
As the rain stops and the clouds roll away, it's time to put down the tools and test tired muscles with a new challenge.
This climb, it's called Twisting in the Wind. It's a very steep climb, it's a very physical climb. You're on your arms a lot, you're climbing these tiered roofs. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a little bit scary sometimes up there because you're in awkward positions, but it's also very rewarding to climb it.
This is what makes all the work worthwhile, being alone up on the rock.
You really feel one with nature, and there's a closeness to it, just being out and breathing the air outside. But when you're climbing, there's a challenge to it, there's a physical aspect, there's fear involved, and you're up high, and you're a little bit vulnerable and exposed. And you're touching nature, the stone, you feel on your fingertips, and it's just a unique experience. It is one of the best feelings I've ever had.
A feeling these climbers know goes hand in hand with good stewardship.
When I started out climbing, I didn't think about taking care of the places we climb and making sure we can come back to them when we want to. After climbing for a while, I realized there's that other side to it, and that's equally important. And that's what will also keep me climbing, is making sure the places we like to go are taken care of, as much as me staying fit enough to keep climbing.
The T-Wall is managed by the team at Prentice Cooper State Park. It was first discovered as a climbing destination back in the mid-1980s. Since then, climbers have found more than 600 ways to make it to the top. If you have high expectations for your wild side adventures, Fall Creek Falls State Park is offering you a chance to rise well above other activities. You will be required to wear a helmet, but this is an adventure that even small children can do. Wildside guide Eve Annunziato and her young daughter help us get this story off the ground.
All right, this right here, this will be your trolley.
Okay.
That's how you do it. You push down and in.
Okay.
We listened intently.
Just like this, I'll show you how.
Suited up carefully.
You're gonna take this little stem right here and put it in this hole. You're gonna lock.
Then focused intensely on the detailed instructions.
All right, you guys ready to give it a shot?
Before trekking through the treetops of Fall Creek Falls State Park.
Folks that go through the zip stream, they're enjoying it. They're enjoying the diversity, especially a lot of our traditional visitors that have been coming here years and years. They're enjoying something different to do.
Fall Creek Falls is chock full of 26,000 acres of lush nature sprawled across the picturesque Cumberland Plateau. Now amongst the beautiful terrain and waterfalls, this park is happy to show off its latest excursion, Zip Stream Aerial Adventure Park. Zip Stream is a 2.5-hour self-guided voyage. Supervised by certified guides, participants move through several courses graded from easy to extreme, while connected to a flexible lifeline system to ensure constant connectivity and safety.
Mom, this one's wobbly.
I decided to take along my 11-year-old daughter, O'Hara, who was extremely apprehensive about the thought of an activity full of suspension bridges and airborne obstacles. Our first stop, the practice course.
Go, Mom!
Rather scary at first, but cheering each other on provides much-needed encouragement, reassurance, and support necessary to help build confidence. Following this rehearsal, she was ready and so was I as we made our way mid-air. So after all of that preparation and practice, it all comes to this point, the zip line 50 feet in the air. It's the most exciting and exhilarating part, and my heart is beating fast. So here goes nothing.
Woo! So fun! I love
it. I was saying, I'm just gonna do a little bit of the rope course and I'm gonna skip all of the zip lines. And that I was really nervous, and I kept telling you, I was like, make sure I don't have to do the zip lines, and I just kept telling you that because I was so nervous. Ready? Together. 1, 2, 3.
You got this.
I'm still kind of shaking because it's so high up, but I feel like I can check that off my list of my accomplishments.
O'Hara wasn't the only kiddo conquering her fears. All the way from the bayous of Cutoff, Louisiana, 8-year-old Luke Petrie was just as determined to accomplish this in-flight feat.
This part of the course is probably the most hardest that I've had.
Luke is getting support from his grandfather as he gingerly places one steady foot in front of the other on his journey to achievement.
Life's a challenge, but you got to stick with it. You got to give it your all, you know. You have to really give it your all. And they're doing it.
This is so much fun!
The ziplining's fun. You just have to get the courage to jump off the platform. You're so high up and you're just looking down and hoping that this is going to hold, but it does. I mean, once you get going, it's just the wind feels awesome as you're coming down. It's not too fast.
Woo!
Yeah, I wanted a little speed with it.
Speed's fun.
No speed, yeah. That was cool. So, a little excitement.
You feel like you're flying through it, and you just take off. The landing's a little hard. Don't run into a tree, but it's fun.
While Madison takes on the highest and most challenging course with her dad,
She's a go-getter, that's for sure.
Mom watches intently, rooting her on while trying to ignore the thoughts in her head.
Just hang on and don't fall.
Building bravery, courage, and self-confidence is an invaluable life lesson that I'm confident the Rubrights, Luke, and my daughter will take along with them on all of their life journeys ahead. From high above, I'm Eve Annunziato on the wild side.
The Zip Stream is open 7 days a week from June through September and on the weekends in the spring and the fall. Coming soon on the wild side, we'll examine the life of a beautiful bird and meet a man who is determined to protect it. Thank you for joining us. We hope you are inspired to appreciate and protect our natural resources. If you ever see us out, please stop and say hello. We'd love to meet you. And remember, if you have to choose sides, always choose the wild side.
Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. We're going to go into our citizens forum. I want to remind everyone you have 3 minutes to speak. First up, we have Cena Mosley. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Cena Mosley, 149 Greenwood Drive. I want to start off saying I'm not mad at nobody. What y'all do, I don't care. But there's one statement that I want to make. Steve, you were standing there. Tony Vanetta was standing there. Jason, you owe this board and the employees an apology. We were all standing there during early voting. You came down through there with your phone going, I got her, talking about Phyllis. And you can shake your head all you want to. There was all of us that heard it. And you told that an employee got the information. You were the only one that could have gotten the information, Jason. None of us had access. And you told that Phyllis was running the computer site and everything else. Yeah, you did. Steve was standing there. Matt, you told me and Tony first. And we all just went, well, okay. Now, what you did with that information, I don't know. But you're lying, and you need to apologize to these people for doing that. It's not the first time. You know what? What you do from here on, I don't care. But we were all down there. Y'all know we were down there. We were down there every day. And you came down through there talking about who gave, the IT person gave you the information. I'm sorry. Did we see it? Nope. Did I know if you did anything with it? No, I don't. But it really saddened me when you sat in that chair and lied to this board. These board members are depending on you to give them the accurate information they need to make a good decision. And I think it's very, very sad, and it really saddens me. All you had to say is, yeah, I did it, but I didn't do nothing with it. Because I don't know if you did. But you are the one that came down there and told that. And it saddens me that you won't tell them the truth.
Thank you, Cena. Next up, we have Daniel Funk.
My name is Daniel Funk, 723 Judge Mason. I came here just to speak on my first time voting this time in this election. And I voted because I saw the code train, which is all three of y'all were on running together. No disrespect to Mr. Jones or Ms. Brown. Had nothing against you guys. That's who I voted for. And to see you trying to out somebody of the train, it kind of scares me a little bit, because I felt like this was a good way to make sure the board was running good. I've seen some of the report, not all the reports, so I don't have all the facts. I understand somebody making mistakes, overstepping his boundaries, but I don't see that's a reason to out somebody instead of just maybe bringing them down, setting them down. Maybe y'all have already done that. I don't know the rules, but what you've done, I'm kind of nervous because the TV's here. So I'm not going to say a whole lot more, and I don't mean no disrespect, but I wish you guys would work this out, stick together instead of ousting somebody out of the board member. That's going to alienate you against the people that you ran for. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel. Next, we have Susan Anthony.
I'm changing the subject. I'm not here for what's going on tonight. I am here. I'm Susan Anthony. I live at 309 Jefferson Pike. I am the office manager for H&R Block. I was here at the last, not the last board meeting, but the board meeting before that. And I just wanted to thank the citizens of LaVergne and surrounding areas when I mentioned the nonprofits that we had sponsored this year. As of today, we have raised over $1,000 for these nonprofits, thanks to the citizens of LaVergne and surrounding areas that have come in and got their taxes done. Also on the 16th of this month, we are having a shredded event. If anybody doesn't know what that is, it's where you can bring your documents and have them shredded. We're also doing a canned food drive for the LaVergne Food Bank with Miss Mary Blair and Frida Winkley. We will be collecting items for them also. It'll be in the parking lot in front of our office down on Murfreesboro Road Old Food Lines Shopping Center, Planet Fitness now. I also have flyers if anybody would like one tonight. And that's all I have to say. I just wanted to say thank you for the people of LaVerne for supporting the nonprofits that we have sponsored.
Thank you, Susan. And last, we have Deborah Hewen.
Good evening. I'm Deborah Hewen. I live at 431 Randall Lane. I didn't think much of anything would get me out of the bed for the past few weeks, and I've missed a lot of meetings because of an illness that I'm trying to get over, and I felt it was important to come down here and say something because I don't have anything at all against Bruce or Kyle or Phyllis or April or any of the people involved. I don't have anything against them. I mean, they've always been very helpful to me whenever I've come down to the city or needed anything, and I don't have anything against really any of y'all, whether I've supported you again or before or not. I don't have anything personal against you. But I did vote for the coal train. I supported them, and I did campaign for them as I could. And I feel like my vote should count, as well as the other citizens should count. And I want to say that Matt Church is brand new at this. He's never been a politician. He's never held seats before. If you think the job is easy, maybe we don't need you up there, because I don't think what you do is easy. And I think there's a learning curve. I think there's things that you have to learn about how the government operates as opposed to private businesses. And I think that to disregard the voters that put him in that seat, to be disregarded and him be ousted, is just wrong. I think you guys need to have classes. You need to teach him what he needs to learn so that he can get the things done that he wants to get done and get accomplished. I don't think throwing the baby out with the bathwater is the right thing to do. Me and Matt have not always got along. As he said before in meetings when he was a citizen, that, you know, me and him don't always get along, and that's true. But he's never mean to me. I don't feel threatened by him. I've never felt threatened by him, and I don't think anybody else should feel threatened by him. I know that he's had a long desire for many years to sit in that seat. And you're going to take his dream away from him because he needs to learn some things, how to get things done. I just don't think it's right. And I know each and every one of you values your seat. And you think it's important, or you wouldn't be wasting your time sitting up there and coming to meetings and budget hearings and everything else. And I respect the office that each of you hold. But I don't and won't respect anybody who wants to take away what the citizens voted for. If he committed a crime, if he punched somebody, if he did something terrible, I'd say take him out of here completely. You know, lock him up. But that didn't happen. He has a personality that needs to be retrained on how to act in a business-like manner with courtesies and manners to ask for things in an appropriate way. And we all do. He's just a straightforward, go get 'em kind of person. You each have different personalities. And we voted for Matt to be up there. Please don't take him away.
Thank you. Thank you, and this concludes the Citizens Forum. And we're going to adjourn this, and at 7 o'clock we will come back to order for the board meeting.
February is Black History Month. But why? Where did Black History Month come from? It began with this man, Carter G. Woodson, a historian and writer. Woodson noticed that his people were, quote, overlooked, ignored, and even suppressed by the writers of history textbooks and the teachers who use them, end quote. So he started a Black History Week in 1926, and people celebrated it enthusiastically. They started Black History clubs, and teachers started recognizing the contributions of Black Americans in their classrooms. He chose February, by the way, because it held the birthdays of both Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, two men he believed had done tremendous work for the rights and liberties of African Americans. It took another 50 years, though, for Black History Month to become officially recognized by our government. The president at the time, Gerald Ford, said that we should seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. Here's the funny thing, though. Carter G. Woodson hoped that someday people would no longer celebrate Black History Month. He saw the day when it would no longer be necessary, when finally we would see Black.
Good evening. I call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum, and tonight I will have the prayer, and Vice Mayor Church will have the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone please stand for the prayer. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. We've got the Citizens Forum for February 5th, 2019. We have one person signed up. Doug Schaefer, if you'd please come forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
Doug Schaefer, 192 Morningside Drive for 41 years now. So older than a lot of you, I can tell. But I want to talk about public safety on some of the roads. Sand Hill Road goes from Stones River to Fergus Road. It's got a lot of traffic on it, especially at rush hour. They cut through there to get through. But there's a lot of building going on. You got tractor trailers, you got flatbeds coming now. No shoulders. White lines on the side of the roads that are faded, bad in a lot of places. Some places are fine. Center line, double yellow lines, almost every curve, and up around the convenience center, faded away. And so you get people taking their half out of the middle on some of those curves. Just asking you to look at that way. In front of Kroger's, coming down Murfreesboro Road, solid white line across there. Okay, there's no turn lane or anything, solid white line, yet Taco Bell on one side, AutoZone on the other, four-way stop just down there with the road running the whole way out to whatever that is down at the end of El Rodeo by the Kroger gas station. I can't remember what that road is now. But to me, that's not quite right that road out at Murfreesboro Road, the white line ought to be taken away because it's more of a road than it is a driveway, I think. Just point. Now the big one. Ever since the Exxon station was put in at the corner of Fergus Drive,